All right, moving on to The Reluctant Vampire. Now, this one stars Malcolm McDowell, who in a lot of interviews that I've ever seen him in, he always claims that he doesn't like horror, but he sure makes one fucking hell of a living off of it. So you better start liking it, bro. He's in a ton of fucking horror. That's pretty much all he makes now. I've seen him say that a few times. I don't like horror movies. Fuck you. He puts bread on your table. I don't care if you were in fucking Clockwork Orange. No. You better start loving horror. Anyway, we also have George Wendt, which everyone knows him from Cheers. That ain't how I know him, okay? I know him from House, okay? Biggest bitch under the sun. She was my aunt. Heart of Gold, though. Oh, I love him in that fucking movie. Next up, we have Michael Berryman in this movie as well, which his most recognizable role for people would be The Hills Have Eyes and, you know, one of the biker gang members in Weird Science and whatever. But there's a film, and I've talked about this a few times on here recently, that was made by a meth addict millionaire, and he made it over years of his life. Like he filmed it for years, and they kept having production issues and this and that, and then, you know, he edited it frantically for years and recut it, and it was all over the place, and then he died and someone finished it for him. It is called The Evil Within, and it is on Amazon Prime, and I love it. It is nuts, and it feels like it's chaotic and that it was sliced together by a guy who was on meth, and I love that film. And Michael Berryman is in that. So when I think of Berryman these days, I'm not thinking of like The Devil's Rejects or any of that. I think of The Evil Within. And then we also have Principal Vernon here from The Breakfast Club, or fucking... I'm not the one that just got butt fucked on national television. Dwayne. Who doesn't love Die Hard? Come on. This dude, freaking Paul Gleason, that guy was in so many cool movies. I loved this episode. This was so fun. It was so tongue-in-cheek, you know, or tooth-in-cheek. Ha 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 ha. These are my Crypt Keeper puns here. But yeah, I love that he has like a coffin that operates like a Murphy bed where it goes up into the wall. I love that his name is Mr. Longtooth, not only because it's a joke on the fact that the vampires have long teeth, but that they live for a long period of time. And when someone's getting old, they're getting long in the tooth. So it's, yeah, I love that. I love the play on words there with his name. And as the title suggests and you know, says, he's reluctant, so he doesn't want to kill anybody, so he works at a blood bank. And you know, I also like that there's this girl that's there, and everything she says about him is just so sexy. Everything's so sexy to her. I love it. And George Wendt's character is a total pervert who fucking deserves it. Jesus Christ, trying to bribe, you know, try to get blackmail girls to fuck his gross ass so that they can keep their job. So evil. He's the real villain in this episode. But yeah, I love how she's hitting on Malcolm McDowell, and he gets aroused and horny because he's into this chick, and his teeth pop out like a hard-on. Like, that's how this plays out. Like, his teeth get erect from what she's saying to him, and I just thought that was freaking great. Like, he can't keep it in. Every time she comes up on him, his teeth grow. Like, he's getting a, you know, chubby in the teeth. Mr. Chubby Tooth. And I also like that, and this is something I've thought about many times when it comes to vampire movies. Like, how would they deal with blood-borne pathogens in the blood, and you know, more current stuff like HIV virus, or you know, something that infects the blood. So I like that he asks these people that he goes out and kills, when he eventually decides to go out and drain blood into a huge water jug, Kind of reminds me a little bit, not exactly because he doesn't use a water jug, but just like draining the body the way that he does. It reminds me of The Exorcist 3 when they leave all the pints of blood that are up on the table. That scene is so cool. If you guys haven't seen The Exorcist 3 for some fucking unknown reason, maybe you watched The Exorcist 2 and you're like, I don't need to watch anymore because that movie sucks. That movie does suck. Completely strike it from the record and just move right on to 3, the true sequel to Exorcist 1. Anyway. But I like how he like gives them the whole rundown, like he's interviewing them or something for, you know, that. But he's like, you know, do you have any bloodborne diseases? Have you had dental surgery or dental work in the last 72 hours? All these stuff. Like these guys are gonna tell him the truth, but he takes their blood from him. But I just love that that's addressed. I love that he is actually worried about getting something from their blood. And the fact that he goes out to save the blood bank at the end, to be the hero by going out and killing people and draining their blood. He goes and he finds criminals, and he's draining their bloods, and he's going out and attacking drug addicts probably, and you know, poor people. So not that poor people are diseased, but more likely if they're criminals, they're probably participating in drug use. So how he could possibly, I mean, he's probably putting a ton of infected blood into the blood bank. So yeah, he may save that place, but then he's going to be infecting the town because they're supposed to take tests, but whatever. I just thought that was funny. And then I mean, George finds, everybody seems to accept that he's a vampire so quick. Like George comes to him and is like, I knew you were a vampire. And then the girl comes in, she's like, I've known for months. It's like, I guess everyone in this episode can accept that he's a vampire except for the cop. But the cop then comes in with Van Helsing, played by Michael Berryman here. And he's like, this is where he sleeps. I know all of his tricks. And he pulls him down. And Gleason's like, no, wait. And he just stakes him. And he's like, it had to be done. And he like walks off. And I'm just sitting there. And then Gleason like walks away and just leaves with him. There was two like deputies right behind him who probably would have drew their guns on him and shot him if he tried to kill that guy. But, you know, Paul's just sitting there. And he watches it happen, and then he lets him walk away, and then he walks away with him. Like, he just committed murder. Like, that was going to, like, that needs to be reported. This guy needs to go to jail. And I thought that was going to be the spin, the twist. Like, and I think that would have worked better, honestly, because if he would have done it that way, Van Helsing would have gotten arrested for killing a human being, because he couldn't have proved it was a vampire, because he's probably waiting. He had a weird look on his face, like, what the hell? Like, something was supposed to happen. And maybe he just kind of just bailed real quick, because he was like, uh-oh, that's not a vampire. Bye, guys. But yeah, he has this really weird look on his face, and then he kind of just like sucks it up, and he's like, it had to be done, and walks out. But I think it would have just been better if he would have been like, what the hell have you done? And he's like, oh my God, I thought it was a vampire. And then they arrested Van Helsing and took him off to charge him for murder. And then the reluctant vampire, Malcolm McDowell, could have been like, look, I'm free now. Like the guy who is going to kill me, the guy who's hunting me, you know, he's incarcerated now. Now I'm free to be a vampire. And I get this girl who wants to be a vampire with me, and he could have changed her, and it could have been like this big happy ending. He's free of this guy who's pursuing him, and he's got the girl. So I just thought it was kind of a little bit of a missed opportunity there. It would have been a nice little twist. But it didn't happen, and it doesn't matter. But I just love the parody satire of this episode. I just thought it was really fun, really silly, and playful, and as I said, I really enjoyed it. So anyway, let's move on.